The display on this is a 5.2 inch 1080p, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous display. Texts look beautiful on this. Videos look beautiful on this. If you're looking at it in the sunlight, because it's an IPS 1080p panel, you're able to use this device in the sunshine and you'd have no problem. Now that being said, there are a couple downsides to this display. It's 5.2 inches, and even though the design is really nice, and I'll talk about that a little later, it fits really beautiful in the hand. You know, your hand could reach the entire display. The one issue that I had with this display was the actual saturation and vibrancy of this display. BlackBerry does allow users to adjust the color adjust, but really what they're doing is really adjusting the white balance of this display. On the priv, you're allowed to change a little bit of the saturation and vibrancy, but on the DTEK50 you're only allowed to mess with the cool or the warmness. The colors do change a little, but on the display of this phone, it's not that punchy vibrancy that you want, and I'm a little underwhelmed by that. I was expecting it to be a little more warmer, but that's fine. Audio quality on this device. So firstly, you got two front-facing speakers, and in the back of the speakers they have these little grills, and in the grills it's basically like an open back headphones. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it basically means you're allowed to get a little bit of the outside noise into the normal music that you're hearing. So if you're listening to jazz on the bus, you'll hear, I don't know, the car horn. Audio quality on this is amazing. I gotta hand it to them. On the original phone, or the Alcatel Idol 4, the speakers on this is actually JBL hi-fi audio, and I would like to believe BlackBerry did not pay for the trademark to be used on this device, but it's the same exact speakers. I would like to believe. The audio is really crisp. It actually gives HTC boom sound audio a good run for the money. It's not perfect. I did notice while I'm in a phone call, I did hear some muffling. Like I was not able to differentiate what the person was saying clearly. I use loudspeaker a lot, and it did affect me, and that's the only downside that I had with the speaker quality. Call quality and reception was really good. No problems there whatsoever. But listen to the audio sample.
I used to believe we were burning on the edge of something beautiful.
Wow!
So the audio quality on this is A+. Now BlackBerry does include something in its software called Waves Max Audio, and when you open this beautiful app up, what it is, it's the same exact app that's in the Alcatel Idol 4. That's why I said this might be the same exact JBL hi-fi audio that you're getting, but they don't market it because they did not pay for the trademark, or they didn't get the license for it. Since this device is actually manufactured by Alcatel and their TCL brand, for those of you who have already owned the previous smartphone, you probably know or remember something called Waves Max Audio, if you own it or not. So this is basically a sort of an equalizer for the entire smartphone. So you could basically adjust the music settings, the movie settings, and general presets that are there. You could also pump up the bass if you want and drop the treble. So what this allows you to do as a user is really customize the shit out of your music or movies or your general experience. So all in all, I really love the stereo speakers. Watching movies on this, excellent idea. The downside that I had with the DTEK50 was its battery life. The battery life on this is a 2610 milliamperes per hour. Let's just call it 2600. The battery life on this was okay. Actually, it was a little less than okay. If you're working for 8 hours, meaning you're leaving home and you're coming back within 8 hours, or you're coming back to your charger, you would have no problems using this phone. For me, I was able to get between 8 and 10 hours of actual usage out of this device. That's on the really low end, and I'm actually quite embarrassed by that. BlackBerry's been known for really good battery life. I don't know what happened with this device. Maybe it needs a little bit of software tweaking, but right now I'm a little bit, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by the battery life. I can't really hide it from you guys. In terms of screen on time, I'd say maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes. At best, 3 hours. And that's me going way, me being really generous when I say that. The battery life on this, it scores 4 or 5 out of 10. It was not the strongest point of this phone. and that's something you should consider. Now, I don't know if BlackBerry's, they discovered that and they know that they were going to have a terrible battery life with their device, but what they have included in their phone when they shipped it out for people who ordered was a mobile power pack with 12,600 milliamperes per hour. This is about $40, but it was free. In software updates, maybe it'll get a little bit better. There is an ultra low voltage mode where you could put your phone into a low power mode, but I mean, you're not going to buy a new phone to put it in low power mode, right? BlackBerry has also decided to launch this phone with the software of Marshmallow, which is a great software and build, Android M, but it's a very, 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 very pure Android experience. A few of the company's most notable features is this sort of pop-up or swipe-up widget, where you just go by an app and you just push up on the app, and it allows you to quickly make a widget to whatever you want for that app. And this works with all of the apps that I have on my smartphones, as a matter of fact, and it does work with Chrome, so you don't really have to go into the app. It sort of helps you be a little more productive as you go along with the smartphone. The company has also included something called DTEK, which is basically their patented software protection app. What this does is basically provide you some privacy, some protection, and allows you to basically adjust your smartphone as you go along in your day, so you could get the most secure Android smartphone. So I suggest you guys turn it on so it allows you to monitor, control the apps in privacy, and allows you to track what apps are actually tracking you. So like Facebook, you'd always get notified. Facebook wants to use your microphone at 12 a.m. in the night. Why does Facebook want to do that? So it really has a lot of good things. Also, it includes app permissions. As many of you guys know, Android M does already have this built into the software. So this is sort of a bit repetitive, but I mean, if BlackBerry is saying this is the most secure Android smartphone, I really do believe that they have a product here to offer to the general public and people who actually care about their data, particularly this tracking where companies are actually tracking your usage to basically sell you ads or better market you products. And what this app actually does is keep you at the same level as them in terms of security. In fact, if you were to pick up this smartphone from the table without any logos, you would actually think this is a pure Nexus device. The software is very lightweight, it's very clean and pure Android. Now, another app that BlackBerry has included in their software, the BlackBerry Productivity Edge, is always there. So you could go into your calendar, your hub, or basically your centralized inbox, your task, and your contact. It also has settings under there that you can mess around with, increase the height of it, the transparency, and then you could also remove it. And like I said in my priv review, is that I wish they allowed us to add some third-party applications. It would be nice to have an Instagram there, BBM right there, literally on your chat as a bubble. Maybe even throw in some Snapchat. I mean, those are some of the apps that they should be targeting to allow users to be more productive and allow them to be more connected. So let's talk about the design of the DTEK50. Firstly, it's very lightweight. When you take it out of the box, that's the first thing you will notice. For a 5.2 inch, I'm absolutely shocked and surprised. My Nexus 5X is not even that light comparing it to this. This phone is way lighter, and that's a good thing. Some people will actually like that, some people will not like that. For me, I like a light phone, especially when it's a larger device. It allows you to rock the device around and reach the corners with your thumb. For older people, what I've noticed is they don't like that lightness. It doesn't feel substantial. They prefer a little heavier device, something that feels robust in the hand. So it's really, people are going to be split around the design and the weight of the device. Now, the back door has this really cool meshing. It's this rubberized diamond, sort of hardened plastic that's polycarbonate. It keeps your phone super grippy. There, It's quite dusty and lint, so that's something to expect with the speakers. That's where the speakers are housed. There's one at the top of the display and one at the bottom of the display, and as you can see, there are dust and lint in it, so that's something to expect. It also has the open back speakers. I think 90% of the audio is going to be front firing, and you may hear a little bit of the back audio. It's a good thing that they have this in their design, because you don't get that reverberation or the vibration throughout the phone when the phone is on max. I like it. Very simple design, very low-key design, but I like it. It works. Now, the thinness of this phone, my god, this thing is thin. This thing went on a diet. BlackBerry gave their smartphones a diet for once, finally. It's very lightweight, very clean, sharp lines. The corners and edges are nicely rounded. On the sides of the device, it sort of tapers off to the edge, and it sort of, you know, like it comes together. It feels so nice in the hand, like it feels super grippy. You're not going to drop this phone. If you drop this phone, something's wrong with you. The antenna bands were hidden nicely with the black on black. Now, something to do note, this is an identical ripoff / design by Alcatel Idol, so BlackBerry didn't really design this. The button placement is nicely firm / mushy. Some people will like it. I like that clicky feel. It feels like expensive, that press. Now on the right hand side, BlackBerry included something called a convenience key. A lot of people might be wondering about this. Now this is good / bad. The convenience key basically allows you to open up an app when you set it up. So once you press that convenience key, it basically fires you into the app, whether it be your video app. I have it set up to camera. Now there's a couple drawbacks to this convenience key. Firstly, if the screen is locked, it's not going to work. Now, using the convenience key, like I said before, it does have some limitations. Let's go in the app and I'll show you what I mean. Firstly, you could clear the app, basically whatever you want. Now you could open apps. The apps that it allows you to choose from is basically listed on all of your apps, which is kind of cool, right? You could launch into Instagram, you could launch into Netflix, you could launch into whatever you want. The one problem that I had with this convenience key, while it's convenient, it's sort of inconvenient. Let's say I know I'm going to be videotaping a fighter jet flying over. I'm giving you a real life example what happened with me. So there were some F-18, the CF-18s flying overhead for the parade or whatever. And I tried to like catch them as quick as possible. And what happened was, like, every time I switched the phone off, because you need the phone off because I'll get to battery life just now, what happens is basically once you go, let's say you put it into video mode, and you leave it in video mode. So you record your video, you leave it there, you're expecting it to be there. You switch the phone off because no one leaves their camera on running. So now that you hit the convenience key, you'd expect the app to be launched right back into where you left the app, which is basically in video mode. But what it leaves the phone in is in camera mode, and you don't want that because it's not very convenient. That's what I mean. Now I know you guys might think like, oh my god, this kid is nitpicking at everything that BlackBerry does, but here's the thing. These little improvements improve BlackBerry as a company. It improves the software as a company. It makes people go like, huh, we should probably copy that, you know? Now, there are two cameras on this phone. Both of them do a really good job, and I'm just going to leave it there. Shouldn't even talk about it. But they do a really good job. Macro shots, close-ups, really sharp, really crispy. I don't know what BlackBerry's done to their software, but from the priv to now, wow, a huge difference. Huge. Some people will complain like, you know, the flash, the LED flash bulb could have been a little brighter. The front camera is an 8 megapixel at f2.2. And it's a wide angle. So you get three really good things with that. One, it's a wide angle, so you could get a really beautiful selfie with group shots. Secondly, the pictures are well lit at f2.2. It's bright enough, it's bright in low light. Thirdly, it's actually some really sharp images that you get from the camera. Now, I'm not saying this is an iPhone killer. I'm just saying for a budget phone, takes really good photos, and BlackBerry's finally figured out how to get a camera on their front phone that's over 5 megapixel after 7 years. So I'm like really stoked about this. Now, you just heard me rant and rave about how great the front camera is. Now let's talk about the rear-facing camera. It's just as good. It's actually way better than the front camera. In fact, I would actually go as far to say it's one of the best rear-facing cameras that I've ever seen on a budget smartphone, including comparing it and outbeating the Moto G4 Plus. It's a 13 megapixel at f2.0, so that gives you a couple things. Let's talk about the few things that's really good about this camera. One, it's 13 megapixels, so it's a high megapixel count. You're going to get some pretty decent shots. Number two, it's at f2.0, so you're going to get really good shots in low light, and you're also going to get really crisp and nice shots with that blurry background for macro shooting. In fact, I really love this for macro shooting. I'll show you some images, as you can see. And the third thing about this camera is, while it's a budget smartphone, it performs just under that of like the high-end smartphones like the S7. Now, I'm not saying this is an S7 killer or an iPhone 7 killer, but it's a really good camera. It is actually a really good package they have. The autofocus system is quite fast in video and in camera mode. The picture quality at macro and at infinity or landscape shots, let's say, are pretty darn good. The video quality is where I'm a little bit let down. I mean, they gave us really good stuff, but I really wish it had 4K video, something to really stand out. Because I mean, they did include micro SD slot inside of this phone that's expandable. So I really wish they gave us some 4K. Maybe in a couple updates we'll see that, but as of right now, it's only 1080p at 60 frames per second, which is pretty darn good, to be honest with you. It's not optically stabilized. You're going to see the vibration basically on bumps or humps as you go along. Now, like I said before, the shutter speed is a little bit faster than when I used the priv in January, February, March of this year. It's actually a little bit faster. The autofocus speed, a little bit faster. The colors that you get from the camera is actually really good. The sharpness is really good. BlackBerry has really increased or set a new higher standard for their camera technology.